everybody, this tutorial is going to show you how to build an assessment using the GoFormative platform. First things first, I want to thank the 7th grade math PLT for introducing me to this platform. This is a demonstration test that I built this morning just using some content from the 7th and 8th grade science curriculums, and it uses most of the different item types that are available on GoFormative. And even though this test is the completed version, I'm going to take you from start to finish. If you worked at Martin last year, you may remember using GoFormative when we reviewed some procedures for the EOG last year. GoFormative is an assessment platform that can be used for any kind of assessment, diagnostic, formative, or summative. You can see on the screen here that it happens to be used for a draw your answer type question where students are doing something. Looks like diameters and circumferences. I'm sorry, math is not my specialty. That's really embarrassing that I don't know what they're doing. But it can be used on any internet-enabled device. You basically create your assessment, assign it to students. You can receive live results and then give feedback on the students. It can run on your phone, tablets, iPads, Android devices, and it runs on the internet. So it doesn't need an app. It doesn't need a data plan. It doesn't necessarily need an internet connection. It does need an internet connection, but there's no firewall that would block anything. So it can be used on any type, any operating system. It doesn't matter. So it's really easy to get started. When you sign up, I used our Google system for Wake County to sign up, and I just used my Wake County Google. And this is what your dashboard looks like, very simple. This tutorial video system stays intact the entire time you use it. It's very easy to get to the tutorial videos. If you're more of a read the guide, there's also a written out Google document guide that you can read as well. To create an assignment, you just click New Assignment. Before we get there though, I do want to show you these other two tabs at the top. Your profile is very straightforward. You can upload an image, your details, your class. But I do want to show you the class feature because most of you would want to use different classes to organize your students. I just created some dummy classes based on the class periods that I taught. Each class is assigned its own unique code. And the way you organize your students into your classrooms is a little bit different depending on how you want to do it. GoFormative does integrate with Google Apps for Education, and all you do in that instance is display your class code. It shows you what the address is that you send your students to, and then have your students say sign up with Google and enter your class code, and it automatically sorts them into the classrooms. You can have students join your class themselves. So just display your class code, send them to sign up, have them sign up manually and enter your class code so that you're not manually entering their data. I know that's not how you'd like to spend your time. So there's some very easy ways for you to do this that minimizes the amount of data entry that you're having to do to get this system set up for students to use. So I definitely wanted to show you that before we start trying to make an assessment. So let's get to the making an assessment part. New assignment. I'm just going to call this demo test. Right. Now there are 3 things you can do here. You can add a question. And here are your 4 question types. And there are no premium features or free features here. Everything is free. You can add content. You can add an image, a text block, a view-only canvas. There are canvases that students can interact with where you might be having them label, or as you saw on the front page, they were drawing actual images, or you can have them just pick a picture that they can only just look at, or you can actually add a YouTube video for them to watch and then answer questions about as part of their assessment. And then you can also upload or transform. The upload or transform feature does have a limitation of 5 pages. So do keep in mind that you can't upload, say, a practice EOG with 32 pages of document to it. You do have to kind of limit yourself or break those documents down into smaller sections. And if you hear extra noises, my dogs are walking around. I'm filming this at home, and I have my small puppy, and he's kind of running around playing with toys, so you might hear his collar bouncing around in the background. So the test that I'm choosing to make this based off of is a Regions test in New York. So I'm going to be working in 2 screens today. So here's that example test. And it's very easy to add a question. All you have to do is click the type of question that you want. And for some reason this stayed here. I don't want that. Click the trash can and it's gone. So, first question I want in my test is, group of organs working together to perform a certain function is called and that's your multiple choice question. You can also change the point value of all your questions. You can add a help text. You can add more than 4 choices. You can have less than 4 choices. So this automatically gives you the option to differentiate if you so choose. One of the things, however, that you need to know is that you cannot assign this to particular students. You have to assign it to an entire class. So let's pick another question. Let's do a true-false question. Infants will often smile when they hear a parent's voice. And you can mark true, false, same options you get with the multiple choice, except true or false. All right. Now with show your work answers, this comes in very handy, especially if you want your students to label something, if you want them to draw their answer, to show their work, especially if you're talking about math where you want them to draw out the steps of what they're doing so that you can see exactly where they maybe perhaps went wrong. So for example, let's say I want them to label the following parts. Parts of the cell on the diagram below. Nucleus, mitochondria, cell membrane. What else? Cytoplasm. And then you would add this background image here. This is your image. And I did save an image of a cell earlier. And the image, when you insert it into the canvas, it pops up as far up on the canvas as it can. So I'm going to drag it around and center it a little bit more in the canvas to give students the ability to write, to create lines, large text, medium, and small text. There's a show your work question. Or if I wanted students to show their answers, I would just write my question here and leave a completely blank canvas. Now I need a short answer question. And the Regents test at the very beginning only has multiple choice questions. But in the second part of their test, they have short response questions. So let's get, there we go, a short response question. And I like this particular question right here, question number 54. But in order to get question number 54 onto my assessment, I need to put some content in. So let's put a text block in. Use the description below to answer question 4. And I'm going to pause while I type this in for you guys. Okay, now that I've got my text added in, I'm going to add a short answer question. Identify two conditions that were held constant in this experiment. Now, even though this is a short answer question, you can list correct answers. For example, things like the SPF in the lotions, sun exposure time, area covered by each lotion, and you can list as many different answers as you want for the different short answer questions. The computer will automatically check what students answer in for their answers to the text and see if they included those types of things in their answer. So those are the basic types of questions that you can include in your assessment. But what if you wanted to include an actual image in the question? For example, I saw a question, I think it was in the multiple choice section of the test, about the law of superposition. No, right here. Right. Which layer? And the way GoFormative works is it allows you to actually drag web images from a web page into questions as long as there's text before them. So watch, if you watch this, which layer of rock is the youngest? So I found an image that has some labels on it that will help the students pick a rock layer. If I drag this image before the text, it'll paste there. But I can also drag this image after the text, and it'll paste there. And then I can just enter my answers, pick the correct answer, and finish typing my question. And when you're done making an assessment with GoFormative, and I'm just going to do these 5 questions to keep it short, you'll go on to the preview so that you can see what it looks like for an actual person who's taking the test. And if you don't like what it looks like, you go back to Build. And when you're ready, you can click on Assign. And you have 2 choices. You can assign to just your classes. Say you wanted to assign to period 1. You can decide whether it wants to be open, closed with scoring, or instant scoring, so that you can not just see the scores, but you can also edit the scores while students are responding. You can't respond to the scores, but you can see as students respond. Or you can respond until the scores are closed and locked. Or you can open it to everybody, and you just provide this code. You can also get a quick code, you can send out a link, you can assign it to your Google Classroom, or you can put it as an embed code if you're using a particular website. So it really depends on how you want to do. Once you've assigned it, you can also look at live results. You can view single questions, you can view a summary, which it looks a little bit different. You can sort it by last name, first name, score, last response. So you get to see a lot of data about the different formatives once you look at different things. And I'm going to look at the live results of our EOG review. So for example, this is the results of our EOG review. Looked at first name, score, last response, It's a very interesting way to get assessment, and you can get your data immediately. So if you like this tutorial, I highly recommend using GoFormative as a way to collect data on your students for assessment. We look forward to seeing you at Techie Tuesday. Thanks. Bye.